Hello, this is George Wallace. What I'm about to tell you is real. I find it quite amazing what people will get up to, plus claims that people make that break the laws of physics. Yes, I said break the laws of physics. We sold an item to a person that was absolutely fine. There were no problems with it at all. It is a foundation. It has a body, as you can see from the picture here, and it had a lid that contained unit. It's very light. It weighs in the region of 20 grams. An email was received a few days later stating the item had arrived damaged. They sent a photograph of the item. This rang alarm bells, since normally people don't do this. Normally you get an email saying it's arrived broken. The picture arrived. As you can see, it looks like it's cracked, until you look at the picture that shows the crack on the holder and the lid. You can see here that the crack mysteriously is only on the surface. The lid would have cracked all the way through, and it would not just be on the surface. The crack on the folder would have continued up the holder and not just stopped. Unfortunately, I am an engineer, and I started to ask questions. The person did not like it and became very defensive. I asked for a photograph of the envelope that the item had arrived in. The buyer claimed that they had wasted it. However, human nature is such that if something turns up broken, people never throw out envelopes. They keep everything. Just human nature. We asked the buyer to return the item. They claimed it would cost £20 to return the item. We offered to provide a full refund of postal charges. The buyer refused to send the item back. The buyer then threatened to open an eBay case against us. We welcomed this. They would have to return the item. They gave us feedback, and it said, "This is a very, very bad seller." In these situations, the main thing you've got to do is to keep the buyer talking. I find it quite amazing what they will say at times. I asked the buyer how the item had arrived. They claimed that the item had come out of the wrapping and the bubble wrap was not taped up properly. However, the picture they had supplied showed the exact opposite. Nothing wrong with the wrapping. They claimed there was not enough tape used. The picture again shows the exact opposite. This is where you start running into all sorts of challenges, since you can prove what the buyer is saying is not correct. The buyer has been shown in at least 3 occasions to be not telling the truth about the item. I don't want to say any more about this case, but just to beware, this is what you can find people doing to try to get their money back. Find them out, and they do not like it. Ask questions for evidence. As you can see here, the buyer can get very upset if they get found out. They claim broke the laws of physics. eBay told me to keep on talking and asking for the item to be returned. Then, when the feedback arrived, they said they couldn't take the feedback off, but they removed the words, which were, "This is a very, very bad seller," since they were defamatory. Another recent story, we received an item from a person, we received an email from a person claiming that they had only received 1 item out of 4. We asked them to send us a photograph of the envelope. They refused, claiming that they had thrown the envelope out. We asked for photographs of the items and received nothing. They started arguing that we had no way of telling how many items we sent them by sending a photograph of the envelope. Unfortunately, we can. When we may have made a genuine mistake, you receive a photograph in minutes. Matter resolved. The problem is, if the buyer says one thing and the seller says something else, eBay will do nothing but try to get you to resolve the problem. If the negative feedback is taken off, the buyer may pick up the telephone and complain to eBay about the negative feedback being removed. If the buyer will not budge about their position, you may end up out of pocket and keep the negative feedback. In the case before, where the buyer had drawn on the item to show a crack, and then will not use the evidence required to prove the case, eBay will not take the negative feedback off. The buyer opened a case demanding their money back. I sent a reply to send the item back. To do this, the buyer has to send the item by recorded delivery. The tracking they submitted was courier, PayPal, tracking number, they use the case number. Even after 8 days, eBay will ask the buyer to return the item. I will wait with interest to see how this buyer reacts. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this very much indeed. Thanks a lot indeed. Speak to you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye for now from George.